So if you watched my last video, you may be wondering, why am I doing a part 2? It was a lengthy live tutorial which covered every single aspect of how to repurpose a Christmas ornament and use it alongside your mosaic art. And in that video specifically, I was turning some glittery stag deer heads I had purchased 12 years ago into mosaic wall art. Except there's one very big problem. Gah! How could I have done that? Let's get to it. Welcome back. And if you're new here, my name is Julie. And on this channel, we talk about tips, tricks, tools, adhesives, materials, and specific mosaic projects, all to shorten your learning curve when it comes to creating mosaic art. So if that sounds like something you'd be interested in, please consider subscribing. So if you watched my last video, you may be wondering, why am I doing a part 2? It was a lengthy live tutorial which covered every single aspect of how to repurpose a Christmas ornament and use it alongside your mosaic art. And in that video specifically, I was turning some glittery stag deer heads I had purchased 12 years ago into mosaic wall art. Except there's one very big problem. And thank you to this viewer right here who brought it to my attention. She loved the way I filmed the video, which was in a different style or a different way than my usual. And she liked the project I created, but she was sad I didn't show how I adhered the ornament to the substrate. And you know, I read that comment, I reread that comment, and I was thinking, what? Of course that part is in the video. I remember hitting record on the camera. And I rewatched the video. And I was like, sure as shit, it's missing. Gah! How could I have done that? I'm so sorry that I left you guys hanging. That was not my intention. If you've watched any tutorials here on my channel, then you know I take pride in the fact that I like to walk you through each tutorial step by step, taking you by the hand so that you come away after watching the video with hopefully all of your questions answered. And that was not the situation with part 1 of this video. And again, I apologize and I'm very sorry. The part that was omitted from that video is very, very important. It's vital to you seeing how the entire wall art comes together. So I'm going to show it to you in its entirety, and you'll be able to see how the deer stag ornaments are adhered to the substrate and how I secure them so that they dry in place exactly where you want them to be. But first, I'm very quickly going to give you a recap of everything that took place leading up to that point in the tutorial. And of course, I will link the full tutorial down below in the description in case you'd like to watch it in its entirety. We've got a lot to cover, so let's get started. As promised, let's quickly go through part 1 of the tutorial, which leads you up to the point of the video that we're missing, which is adhering the deer stag ornaments to the substrates. And then you'll see the entirety of how I finish things off. Okay, so the tutorial started by me bringing you up to speed on the work that I had done to the substrates many years ago. This is a project that is about 12 years in the making. And then I discovered the ornaments needed a deeper hole drilled in them from what I did years ago. So I showed you how to use a drill press and how to make a hole into solid ornaments. Next, we prepped the substrates, including painting, signing, sealing, and adding a hanging hook. We also talked about tesserae selection and how I cut the stained glass. I also shared how I decided to adhere the stained glass, including why I went with a wider grout line. And we grouted all of the wall arts, including how I created a special grout color for one of them, as well as how I used glitter grout for the remaining 3 wall arts. And now we're to the point where I adhere the ornament to the substrate. So enjoy, and again, I am so sorry. Thank you for your patience with me. Okay, we have come to the point where we can put these together, sort of. The first step, at least. And so just to bring you up to speed, I glued on berries to 2 of the little wreaths that I had. And then I went shopping and I found these little Christmas lights, which are super cute. And I also, because I got a lot of great responses from all of you guys on social media, I also am thinking with one of these to put a ribbon around the neck. And I just thought like a hot pink ribbon or a red ribbon. So I'm going to need to look for something like that. So this is exciting. We're going to put these to the side. The next step, actually I need the wax paper. The next step is to actually glue the heads on to the substrate. Now the 2, pardon my reach, the 2 that are going to have a wreath, those have to be put in place and then the head gets put on, because there's no way to get that on otherwise. But regarding the ornaments, those I think, I might tie in between the antlers, and then I'm going to go through my ribbon stash and try to find a ribbon for around the neck or maybe where it meets the substrate. So that can go on afterwards. So this and the ribbon can go on afterwards, but the wreaths, those need to go on now. So I'm going to go ahead and adhere all of the buck heads to the substrates. And I'm going to be using the premixed THINSET again. That is a really good stiff adhesive. So I'm doing 2 wreaths, and I think I'm going to do it on one of these and this brown one. I think that is going to be like super cute. So these 2 are going to get the wreaths, and then those 2 over there will get the lights and the ribbon. To install the buck head to the substrate, I'm going to put some premixed THINSET into the bottom here, into the hole to start with. And I'm also going to put a little bit just outside of the hole. I don't want to put the THINSET all the way out here, because when this meets up with the substrate, it may ooze out, and I don't want that. So I'm just going to try to keep it a little more contained by putting some in the hole as well as on the outside here. I'm just using the toothpick to kind of poke it down in there, help it go down into the hole. Okay. And then I'm just going to put a little bit more on the outside here. See how I'm not going out all the way to the edge? And then I'm going to carefully put the wreath on. Okay. And then you want to make sure that you check which end has your hook. Okay, so you want to make sure that the hook is going in the same or correct direction as your antlers, and then I'm just putting that together. Now you want to make sure, for instance, if I let go of this, the deer head wants to fall backwards a little bit. So I'm going to need to prop it up a little bit. I'll need to prop it up in place like that. Now I don't want to use the painter's tape directly onto here because it'll pull off the glitter. So I'll show you what I'm going to do in a minute. Let me just install this one and then I'm going to show you that next step. And then I just take another one. Whoops. Flinging it around. Okay, so I put some there. Get my toothpick and I'm just sort of pushing it down into the hole. And the nice thing, again, about the THINSET is that it's a cement-based adhesive. So once this stuff dries, these guys aren't going anywhere. Okay, and I'm just going to add a little bit more. Again, I'm not pushing it out to the edge. It will, once the buckhead makes contact with the substrate, it'll ooze out a little bit. But we don't want it to ooze out so much. Okay, and then I'm carefully getting the head on, the wreath on the head. And then okay, getting that in place. Now let me show you what I'm going to do to get them in position to dry. Okay, so let me show you what I'm going to do. I have these project trays. These are just melamine project trays. And so I'm going to lift this up and put it onto the project tray. And I cut, this is just regular old copy paper. And I want to get it so it's a little taut. So I'm going to tape it at one end onto the plastic tray. I'm doing this because I don't want to just lean something up behind it. I would rather be much more controlled as far as how it is drying in position. And I can't put the tape directly onto the glittered buckhead because it'll pull the glitter off. So I'm using this to keep things in place. I'm checking down at the level of the substrate. Okay, I like that. And I'm going to tape. And then I just want to double check. All right, it looks like I'm going to pull this a little tighter. There we go. All right, let me see if I can show you. Okay. So I don't know if you can see, but the buck is flat against the glass and the substrate. So you probably can't see. Let me move that around a little bit. But it is flat. And so, you know, that's what I want to go for. And this piece of paper is holding it up, as well as the 2 pieces of tape on the tray. I'm going to go and I'm going to do the rest of them this exact same way. Okay, so it's basically you want to attach your tape and paper at the back first and then pull. Now this is just how mine are, but I'm telling you, I taped at the back and on the paper and then pulled the paper forward, which of course pulled the head forward so that it's straight. So this one is a much better view. You can see what's going on with the head. And it has, you know, the THINSET behind it, and it's straight. And so here they are, and they're just gonna sit here and chill for a number of hours. I would let them sit 24 to 48 hours before doing anything to them. Just, you want to give that THINSET enough time to do its thing. But they are just relaxing. And that's it. And now that you've seen how I adhered the ornaments to the substrates, you can go back and watch part 1 to see how I finished off each of these wall arts. There's a lot of behind the scenes in that part 1 video, as well as I take you through the thought process on how I made some decisions and how you can use those sort of ways of thinking differently about your project and apply them to your mosaics. And also, as I mentioned in part 1, I am giving all 4 of these wall arts away. And of course, I wanted my mom to have first dibs, and she chose this one right here. And I was able to take it to her in between the part 1 tutorial coming out and now this one, this part 2 tutorial. And she loves it. God, I don't think I've ever done this before where I've totally omitted a vital part of one of the videos that I've put out. But, you know, we're making good on it, and now you can put it all together. Yeah, sorry about that, guys. Sorry. If you guys made your own wall arts using ornaments, whether it was a family heirloom or something that you bought in a store, like my little glittery deer stag ornaments, I would love to see them. Please tag me on Instagram. I would love to see what you do. I think that these are such a fun way to hold on to some memories of your past. Thanks for spending a little time with me today. I so appreciate it. And again, sorry, but now you have all the answers, and have fun with your mosaics. I'll see you soon. I love you. Bye-bye. For more mosaic inspiration, check out one of these 2 videos. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon. Bye.